Hello everybody, my name is Spoons Rattling, and welcome to Painting Alpha Legion Part 2. This is to show a different method of painting Alpha Legion that I plan to use for doing vehicles and large things, like the Khorne Lord of Skulls that I'm going to paint. So the first step is to base it with whatever you prefer. I'd say a gray, but silver works as well. Then you want to paint all the armor plates with INCUBI Darkness. Now this paint takes a couple coats, so obviously you're going to want to do 2 thin coats. And it doesn't matter that much if you get any on the trim, because we're going to be touching that up later anyways. So after 2 coats, it looks quite nice actually. I'm a big fan of this color. This is the first time I'm using it. But you do this, and then the next step is to dry brush on a heavy purple. I used heavy purple from Vallejo, though Nagath Darkness, I want to say, from Games Workshop would also work. Now you're just going to want to dry brush this basically all over the armor plates to get a nice sort of purple mid-tone between the 2 colors that we are sort of building up to. So here's the sped-up footage of me doing just that. Just go around and take your time. Again, doesn't matter about getting it on the trim, just make sure you get good coverage over most of the armor plates. And then after that step, we're on to sort of coloring with the main color, and I wanted to say that you can kind of take this in any direction you want. Like coloring certain sections and not coloring certain sections to make the color look more fluid and changing. And the color we're going to use to build up that effect is SOTEK green. And we're going to do the same thing, where we just dry brush. I'm using a Army Painter small dry brush here. We just, again, dry brush over all the armor panels. But again, maybe leave some heavier with the dry brushing, and then some lighter with the dry brushing. For example, I left the left boot mostly purple, just to add a little bit of extra contrast to the bright blues. So once again, just take your time and go all around. Painting this way is actually quite quick, and then you get up to this color, which I think looks actually quite nice for the Alpha Legion. It does need the cleaning up stage, of course, because the metal and every detail is pretty much covered in purple and blue, so that's the very next step we're going to do. Using STORMHOST silver, or whatever silver you prefer, depending on how bright you want the trim to be, just go around and correct the trim. With Chaos Space Marines, it's quite easy to do, as their trim is so thick and bulky. It's quite easy to do, and you probably won't make any mistakes. But if you do, just go back with SOTEK green or purple and correct them. So again, just make your way around the model, checking any areas that you might not notice, like underneath the armor or underneath the legs. And it should only take 1 coat, as the silver is relatively strong, and none of the colors on the silver we're painting over are too deep. So this is what it looks like with the silver all fixed up, and then I did the eyes using MOOT green. Now on the right eye, I accidentally overfilled that eye. So after I painted the second one, I came back around with SOTEK green and corrected it. I then blocked in the colors for the rest of the details, such as this loincloth, painted it Screamer pink, as it complements the Alpha Legion colors quite nice. I also painted the tassel on his side this color. And then I'd recommend WRAITHBONE or any bone paint to paint these skulls and tusks. I was just using some cheap acrylic paint, as I didn't have any others. I got it from Michael's. But again, I'd recommend something like WRAITHBONE, as it's going to be a bit nicer in terms of quality. So go around the model and make sure you just put a few thin coats down, and then choose which Legion you're going to paint your helmet, or the helmet on the trophy rack. I did a sort of yellow, so I also based it with the bone color. Then you want to wash the actual things that are going to be bone color with Agrax Earthshade, as you can see here. Try not to let it pool too much. I also washed the Screamer pink with Null Oil. And then from here, you just kind of want to do the touch-up on the details. And if you want, a step you don't have to do, but I think adds a little bit, is going around with Gauss Blaster Green and sort of adding some edge highlighting to the plates on the sides of his hips, on his face, and so on and so forth. You can see there the helmet I chose to use was sort of an Imperial Fists. As you know, Alpha Legion doesn't particularly like the Imperial Fists. Well, they don't like a lot of people, but the Imperial Fists they have a little bit of extra beef with, but I'm sure they aren't too vocal about it because, you know, Alpharius isn't really dead. But that's why I chose Imperial Fists. So here's the final result. I painted up the weapon as I normally would, following my muzzle burn tutorial and just using the black bolter from my original Alpha Legion painting video. My name has been Spoons Rattling. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See ya!